Okay, so the first detection was in Washington State, was December 8th, and was turned in by a homeowner near Blaine, which is up by the Canadian border. And it's a fairly significant detection because Asian giant hornet has been on our watch list because of its basically because of its known activity of killing entire honeybee hives. And this unfortunately could lead to some pretty severe interruptions for pollination, the way it's used here in the United States. First of all, it's a large organism, so it's very intimidating when you first encounter one. In fact, when I first picked up the specimen in Blaine, I thought it was a child's toy. That's how large it was compared to other hornets that I'm used to dealing with. And to be certain, you don't find hornets really in the Pacific Northwest. The only true hornet is from Europe and was introduced in the eastern US. So you have that going on. So what makes it dangerous is that people don't know to look for them. And it is a ground nesting species. So if you were to encounter a nest unbeknownst to you, you could be stung several times in a big hurry. And so what would make this, say, more dangerous than a honeybee is when a honeybee stings you, it loses the stinger and then it dies. An Asian giant hornet will sting you multiple times and can sting you multiple times and deliver larger doses of venom just because of the size of them. The venom itself is fairly toxic and creates localized necrosis around the wound, so you'll see melting of flesh around the wound. What we're told from the literature is that most people can survive 1 or 2 stings unless you're severely allergic to it, and then, you know, like anyone, that could be a problem. But if you sustain multiple stings, the necrosis and the venom will actually start getting into your bloodstream and will start working on your organs, and multiple stings could literally be fatal and have been fatal. Most literature from Japan, for example, says it's responsible for 30 to 50 deaths a year. And this wouldn't be their flying out of their way to track people down and sting them. This is people accidentally stumbled onto a nest or something like that. We really don't want any private citizen trying to mess with an Asian giant hornet nest. Typical beekeeping attire simply will not protect you. The stinger on this insect is 6 millimeters long and will go readily through most cloths. This is about the size of the worker we collected in Blaine. This isn't the actual specimen, but you can see it's kind of a formidable beast. And then you put it side by side with the queen, and you can see that the queen is just overwhelmingly huge, and it's an eye-opener. Well, the real danger besides human health is to the apiary industry. So pollination is a huge part of agriculture and the agricultural systems we have here in the United States. And so if this were to become well established and then start spreading, it could be pretty catastrophic. Reason for this, in its native range, when it attacks honeybees that are there, it's a different species of honeybee. That honeybee has co-evolved with it and has some defense mechanisms. The honeybees that we run here in the United States are of the species Apis mellifera, or also called European honeybee or Italian honeybee. And they have zero defense against this particular pest. And what's really unfortunate is that only a few Asian giant hornets, once they locate a colony, can kill a very healthy hive with no losses to the hornets, mind you, in just a few hours. And that can be devastating.